The Modi government has finally woken up, it seems, with vandalism and caste-based attacks hijacking the country's development agenda. None other than Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, who is virtually the number 2 in the Modi cabinet, today hit out at its allies and party leaders for spreading violence and hate speeches, and said that heinous acts will tarnish the image of the country before the global community. The Finance Minister did also say that while a healthy debate is always welcome on critical, crucial issues, the political class should ensure that the methodology of protest does not affect India's own credibility.
The Modi government has been facing flack both from its allies and the international community for not acting tough against hate speech and vandalism. While Jaitley's statement is a clear attempt to silence the government's critics, not everyone is really amused. Opposition parties today sharpened the attack against Team Modi, saying that instead of making statements, the government should act tough to contain violence. The country at crossroads and a government in damage control mode. That's our top story on Business Tonight.
Ink attacks, vandalizing offices, threatening tourists, cancelling concerts. The right-wing loose cannons have dominated the headline space to a nation's discontent and dismay. So much so that in just one fortnight, the president had to remind India twice over about its secular credentials. The communal dialogue spearheaded by BJP's own men and its ally, the Shiv Sena, has steamrolled the Modi government's agenda of good governance and development. And so finally, the finance minister came down heavily on fringe dominating the debate and delivering a powerful message to its ally. Jaitley insists on a debate and denounced vandalism.
The past few days have seen an extremely disturbing trend where some people have been resorting to vandalism as an instrument of registering their protest. What is disturbing is that when these acts of vandalism are increasingly publicized, many others are feeling encouraged to use similar methods.
Finance Minister Jaitley urged the right-wing activists to register contrarian views and indulged in civilized mode of discussions. He urged his people to think whether they were adding to the quality of the Indian democracy or reducing the credibility of India.
All right-thinking sections will have to distance themselves from these kind of methodologies which are being used. And those who are using these methods must also introspect whether they are adding to the quality of Indian democracy or they are really reducing the credibility of India as a country before the eyes of the world itself.
Jaitley also confirmed the tough talk that party president Amit Shah had with these overzealous guards of Hindu religion and insisted that the Prime Minister is very angry over their out-of-turn statements.
The party president has very strongly taken it up with them. The Prime Minister has conveyed his views, and therefore all of them have been spoken to.
Speculation is rife. The BJP may not score well in Bihar. And so political analysts see this out-of-turn tough talk as a desperate attempt to make amends and woo voters. But given this comes from one of Modi's close aides, the loose cannons must take notice. After the Delhi debacle, Bihar is a litmus test. And with the growing religious intolerance, Modi's promise of good governance is only losing its sheen. It's time the government delivers on the mandate of 2014. A mandate for development, a mandate for growth, and a mandate for Achhe Din. Priya Singh, ET Now, New Delhi.
Why are state governments, specifically in this case the state government of Maharashtra, not imposing stronger sanctions or taking stronger action against these vandals like the ones we saw of the Shiv Sena entering the BCCI headquarters and earlier this week? Isn't this encouraging them even further?
Well, first of all, your question is based on an incorrect premises. The government has not allowed people to do this. It's some people who are resorting to these kind of protests, and wherever law is violated, the government has been taking appropriate action.
Right.
Now, as far as sections are concerned, it's for the police to make sure as to which provision of the penal law is violated.
While you may not be encouraging these fringe groups actively, these groups themselves by the relative inaction are feeling emboldened as probably strict action is not being taken against them, stricter action than what they have faced so far?
I think there are 3 or 4 things that can happen. Those in the political space will have to criticize this and distance themselves from these kind of tactics. B, groups indulging in this, particularly if they are mainstream political groups, must realize their own sense of responsibility. 3, the law and order authorities must act strictly as per law. And 4, the media must realize that they also have a larger national responsibility.
You are repeatedly, Mr. Jaitley, coming back to the media, but what about the leaders within the BJP, Mr. Jaitley, who have been actively speaking out of turn, making comments that are unacceptable? The Prime Minister made a very valid point in his speech in Nawada in Bihar, and everyone appreciated it, including here on Times Now. But can the BJP blame anyone else when their own use this kind of language, people like Sangeet Som and others?
You see, after the Prime Minister's comment, the party president has called 3 gentlemen. He's very firmly told them that their statements are not appreciated by the party at all. They've been put to notice. And therefore, I'm sure that they've corrected themselves.
Shiv Sena, Mr. Jaitley, what about the Shiv Sena? Are they not stretching their own limits? On a daily basis, they appear to be challenging the BJP on a daily basis.
I would only urge them, they are a separate political party, that they must realize they are a part of the central government, they are a part of the state government. And whereas every political party must have a responsibility, if you are in government, more so. And therefore, having said that, issues like relations with neighboring countries will have to be conducted on basis of a very well thought out strategy. They can't be conducted in a manner on the streets itself. That can't decide how we deal with our neighboring countries. And therefore, I think it's extremely important that every political party, including my friends in the Shiv Sena, realize the importance of this.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.